Hi, and welcome to Matcha Minute, where we talk about what's going on in our community. Today, we have a very special guests from the Richard Allen Cultural Center. We have Edna Wagner and William from the Cultural Center. William, I don't know your last name.
Wallace.
William Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you for being on the podcast. We're excited to have you. Excited to hear about the great things you guys are doing. Can you guys tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I'm Edna Wagner. I'm the intern director right now for the Richard Allen Cultural Center and Museum.
That's not the first time.
Oh, no, this is not the first time.
This is your third tour?
We're going to count it as, we'll just let that be.
Okay.
But we are, the museum is, we're about to say, I'm an educator first.
Okay.
I'm a mother. We came through the military to the Leavenworth area and have been stationed. My husband has been stationed here 3 times.
Wow.
So our oldest son graduated from Leavenworth High.
Okay.
And the only year of 2000 is when Leavenworth High won state basketball championship. He was the point guard.
Okay.
So I'm a proud mother to say that. And he's doing very well now in his career that he's doing in Indiana. I've worked with Title I students in the area. That's how I started in the Leavenworth School District schools as a Title I instructor to help bring the first money for Title I in with a group of other people that were a part of that.
Mr. Wallace, what about you?
My name is William Wallace. I was born and raised here in Leavenworth. So I've been in Leavenworth all my life. Graduated from Leavenworth High School in 1970.
Wow.
Believe it or not. And I've been connected with the museum. The museum actually started with underneath the wing of Battalion Church.
Really? I didn't know
The
that.
church across the street. I think you had mentioned that in this any questions here.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you originally how we got it. And we were having a dinner at the church one time, and 2 men came across the street. We saw them over there. And we said, well, how can we help you? They said, we're going to help you. I said, how? We're going to sell you that house across the street. We said, we're not looking to buy a house. Why are you going to sell us a house? And we're going to sell you that house for $1. And we literally brought that house for $1. We have a deed on the wall there that says that it was sold to Bethlehem Church for $1. First, we thought they would invite, they gave us a week to decide. So some of the trustees went to the city and made sure it wasn't on a demolition list. And they said, gave us the key, said, walk through it and look at it. There was nothing wrong with the house. They said back then, it was Army National Bank at that time, 1989, 1990. And they said banks weren't into foreclosures then. They said they had 8 houses on their books. They were going to foreclose on them and they didn't know what to do with them. So they were selling them to either churches or nonprofits. So we decided to buy the house for $1. It's kind of not to pass it up. So that's how the museum actually, the building got there.
So did you have the idea for the museum before that? Or after you bought that building? Is that how the idea came about?
Yeah, after we bought the building, we had a congregational meeting and we just tried to decide what we're going to do with it. Because the shelter wasn't down the street, make a place for the homeless, a shelter for battered women. All these ideas came up. And one of our oldest members, Mr. Staff Johnson Sr., said, let's make it into an African-American museum.
Wow.
And we said, we don't know anything about a museum. Where are we going to get the artifacts? Like I said, he was 80-something years old. He said, I've been saving stuff all my life.
Wow.
And he said, I can probably fill that house. And he almost literally did. A lot of our first artifacts came from him. The things he saved were the right things. And we were amazed at some of the stuff he saved. We still have some in permanent display there from Mr. Staff Johnson. Although he's deceased now, he lived to be 96 years old.
Wow.
So that's where the idea came from. Mr. Staff Johnson said we should make it into an African-American museum.
Stop throwing away history and preserve history.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. William has shared that with you, and we are just out there willing to be, everybody call us the hidden jewel of Leavenworth.
I would agree.
Because we have so much in that building. I know when you visited, I'm sure you saw some of those things. And we are looking forward to sharing it to many more people by talking about it, by mail outs, and making sure that people know that we're in town and that we have a lot of services that we can offer besides just museum tours.
Tell us a little bit about Richard Allen. Why the Richard Allen Cultural Center?
Richard Allen was the founder of the AME Church.
Okay.
And like I said, again, we had a congregational meeting and we decided to make it into an African-American museum. We tried to find a name for it. What are we going to call it? one of the members said, make it Richard Allen Cultural Center and Museum. And we voted on it and it stuck. And so
Wow.
that's where it came from, just simply because then it was still affiliated with the church. We're no longer under the wing of the church. When we became 501c3, we broke away from the church. So now we just rent the building from them. And so we're a not-for-profit organization. So
that's amazing.
Mm.
You have a lot of artifacts in there. I've walked through there. It's amazing. It's amazing how much stuff you fit into a small area like that. What is one of your favorite exhibits, Edna?
All of them.
Mhm.
I can't just pick one. That's all of them. I get excited when I share anything about anything that's in that building. I guess some of the most recent ones that would be the women of 6888,
Okay.
and then General Beagle,
Uh-huh.
his story and his life. So there's just so many older ones that were there before I came that I love.
Wow.
So it's just hard to say which one is my favorite.
You, Mr. Wallace?
I'm about like her. All of it's my favorite. We're the only museum, from my personal research, we're the only museum in the United States of America that has on display 3 different African American generals. General Beagle, we have actually a 4-star uniform from General Colin Powell.
It's a rare one because he didn't give many
It's
of
a
those
rare.
No,
away.
he didn't. My research says there are 2. One's at the Smithsonian Institute,
Oh,
and one
wow.
is at the Richard Allen Cultural Center.
That's
And
amazing.
my research says there are no others with 4 stars on the collar. The other uniform is a uniform of female general, Donna Madison, and she is a 3-star. Donna Martin, Donna Martin. And she is a 3-star general working out of the Pentagon.
How many tours do you guys do a week for the museum?
On an average, anywhere from 5, maybe sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes it could be less than that. I think it just depends on the time of the year, the weather, what people have going on. Spring break, we usually have more. In the summer, we have even more. Now that Fort Leavenworth has the Command General Staff College, a lot of students bring their parents in to visit while they're here. So they will bring them out to visit. And then we just have people who just want to take a day tour that might come in from Nebraska. They may come in from Liberty, or they're doing something that just doing that 50-mile day trip. They want to do something. So they can come in from almost anywhere.
Wow.
So we never know who's walking through our doors, but we always open those doors for them.
What is the oldest exhibit that you guys have?
I'm thinking probably Mr. Johnson's mother's stuff, maybe.
Probably Mr. Johnson, some of Mr. Johnson things. We have a collection of
and then the artifacts from y'all church.
His china that they use. It's actually trimmed in 22 karat gold.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Johnson, we have it on our table. And like she said, when the original church collapsed, August 8th, 1985, Mr. Johnson actually some of us went there and he picked out some stuff. I want this, I want that. I said, what are you going to do with it? I'm taking it to my house. What are you going to do with it? He said he's just saving it for memories, souvenirs from the old church. And like I said, sometimes I always say God has a plan for you and you don't know what it is. He saves these things from the church and he always kept them in his shed, wall in her shed, and he wiped down. Miss B, his wife, said that he stays out in that shed and he doesn't bother me, and she said she loved it. But he kept everything superbly clean and intact. So in the room, we call it church room. All those things in the church room came from out of the church right before it collapsed, or while it was in the process of being collapsed. And he saved a lot of important things from the church that are highly recognizable. We have a picture of them. All these things in the museum. There's a big picture on the wall there. You can see all these artifacts that he just had the knack to know he wanted to save this stuff.
Wow. That's amazing. But you guys aren't just a museum. You do other things in the community.
Right.
Can you talk about that?
We run an after-school tutoring and mentoring program. And the program is for students kindergarten through 12th grade. And in the last 3 years, we've incorporated freshman college students who are still struggling in math and sometimes in just basic reading comprehension that they didn't get in school. And so the kids who come in are kids from our Leavenworth, Fort Leavenworth, Lansing, and sometimes we've even had kids come out of Platte City to our program. Their parents have heard about it. They've heard about who our tutors are, which are retired military, active duty military. CGSC students who come in for the course and they may be here alone without their families. They're looking for something to do, and this is a way of them giving back. Also, teachers, retired teachers, and just people who are concerned about making our community better. So all of those people come in. What kind of work we work? Multiplication, algebra, science, social studies, handwriting, because handwriting was taken out of the classroom. And I want kids to know that when somebody say, I need your signature, and they'll have a place where you can print, I want them to know the difference between you printing your name and actually putting your signature. That's mean you're writing in cursive.
Yeah.
So we teach handwriting as well. Those are things that I think kids need to know. I said, one day you're going to sign your life away. And because you can't read cursive writing and everything is done on the computer, but you're not going to know what that is, it's going to get you in a lot of trouble. So those things are very important. And we also work with our kids about how to apply for a job. How do you fill that application out where it's completed and people actually take the time to look at it? Also, how to dress for a job when you're going in for an interview. I remember several summers ago, we had some teenagers and they came, oh, Miss Wagner, I'm going in for an interview for a job. I said, okay, what are you wearing? I'm dressed. You have on flip-flops and jeans. Is that the type of job you're going to? What is the job? You can't interview. So a lot of them funding is not there in their homes to buy these things. I took them to the thrift shop. We found a skirt. We found a nice pair of slacks. We found a blazer, some blouses, neckties, dressed up, and some shoes with socks. Then we prep them on how to ask questions. Go research that company that you're about to apply for so that when they ask you, do you have any questions for them? You now know a little bit about their company to talk to them about, and that will help you in your interview. Handwriting. Be aware of how you're writing. Check your spelling to make sure that they understand what you're trying to convey to them. So things like that. Then before June Northland closed down, she used to set up, partner with me to set up a day for us to bring our kids in to come and eat. They all thought they were going to sit with their best friends. No, they did not. So people in the restaurant, when you walked in, you were assigned to go to table 2, table 5, table 6. And this is when you're meeting total strangers. How do you start a conversation? Or instead of just sitting there like a bump on the log, not knowing how to introduce yourself. So things like that, I feel that are important for our youth to know, and even how to dress when you go to a restaurant. And then we always stage an incident. And the incident is how you're going to respond. Accidentally spill some water right in front of someone, especially the student, to see if they're going to jump up, or if they're going to lose their mind and say something inappropriate, or how do you handle that? So we try to put them in situations that they'll understand as an adult and as a young adult. How do you react when something happens instead of overreacting? So it's things like that. How do you set up a bank account for yourself? Do you spend all your money when you get your check? Or do you say, I'm going to spend this amount and I'm going to save that amount? So we try to help them develop goals and habits that are going to help them have better futures of finance. So simple things like that. And then our young kids, we start talking to them about goal setting. By the time they're in the second grade, you'll say, oh, I want to be a policeman. I want to be a firefighter. Okay, that's good. In case plan A doesn't work, what's your plan B? Or I want to be this athlete. Everybody wants to be an athlete who's played sports, but will you be that NFL player, that NBA player? Maybe not. But if you use your mind and let education be the priority first, everything else becomes fun. Whether you make it or not in those industries, you still have a plan B to go to. So we try to do that. And I told them, everybody's not going to tell you yes. I've gotten a lot of no's as a person when I was growing up. I grew up in the South. And so a lot of no's came before that yes finally came. So I had plan A, plan B, and a plan C.
Oh, wow. I think kids don't hear that message enough these days.
Right. Well, they kind of tell me I'm crazy. But later on, they come back and say, Miss Wagner, I'm so glad you pushed me. And the other tutors have pushed me to challenge myself to think about other things besides just that one thing, thinking that that's the only thing I can do. Because kids have a lot of talent that they don't even realize. But if we don't challenge some of that, they never know.
How many kids do you have in that program right now?
Right now, there is 9 that are still in the program. We can average anywhere from 20 to 16 kids a year. And I think if we had bus transportation, because there's many kids who need transportation to get to our facility. If we had a bus or a van, that would make a difference because then we could do more.
Mm-hmm.
But for the parents who can't get their kids there, they bring them. We have kids that might start at the first of the year and then catch on, and they may drop off. And then you have others that will stay the complete year of the program.
Is it year round or is it just school year?
It's during the school year. Normally we do the 2 weeks in the summer to try to work with the older kids on what I said earlier, with transitioning to jobs, applying for school to make sure that they can pass the ACT and SAT testing, those kind of things. But by law, we've been told we can only run the program 2 weeks.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So.
This is so you talked about the church had a collapse. Can you talk a little more about that?
Well, we were in the church having services, and we noticed the walls. This was when we had a 2-story church.
Yeah, this is 1985?
This is 1985.
Okay.
Right before that, we noticed the walls seemed to be bowing. So we called architect and called a construction company, and it actually came and they put an 1.25-inch rod from one, and it was all the way across the rod with plates on both sides, and they would come and tighten it when it looked like it was going more. And they were looking at a way, trying to figure out how to fix it. Dealing with the insurance company and the construction company, and then we didn't know then, back in 1985, we had what we now call wind burst, and it just totally collapsed, unfortunately.
Wow.
But we were in the process, and before that, the city had looked at it, and they had condemned it. They was called unsafe. So we stopped having services in there, and we actually had service at the gym at Lincoln School right across the street. So luckily, we weren't in the building anymore. But unfortunately, when it collapsed to the west on a house, and 2 individuals were killed.
Oh, my goodness. Now, the Bethel AME Church, that's connected to the Underground Railroad, as I understand. Is that right?
Yes. But previously, in the Underground Railroad days, they would put a light in the top of the building. There was a bell tower, and they put a light in that, and the runaway slaves could see that light all the way across to the other side of Missouri River, and know when that light was, or that was a beacon for them to know where to go. If they crossed the river, and there was always a boat or someone with the boat would carry them across the river, and they'd come up to the church. Inside our church, and I was fortunate enough, when as a child, I saw this.
Oh, really?
Yes. Inside the church, in the women's restroom, there was a trap door. And underneath that trap door, there was a room, and that's where they would hide the runaway slaves.
Oh, my goodness. That's amazing.
When they rebuilt the new church, I kind of told them, I was a young trustee. I said, if you can get somebody to do a latitude and longitude thing, we can at least put a marker where that trap door was. And the elderly people didn't want to go for that. So I said,
my goodness.
They didn't realize how historical it was. And I tried to emphasize that. I said, we won't have the trap door, but you could put a marker there, or fictional, or, not a functional door there, and say this was actually the trap door. But they didn't go for that. Now I wish they had have.
How did the church get involved with the Underground Railroad? How's that story go back there?
Now that I don't know all the technicalities on that, but they were involved in, like I said, it's the runaway slaves. Kansas was a free state. Missouri was a slave state.
That's right.
And so the slaves would come up from the south, and some of them were, when the Civil War was going on, a lot of the southern people came up north. Everybody wanted, all the slaves were going to the north, but a lot of the old plantation owners came north, and they bought their slaves. So there were a lot of slaves still in the northern states. When they wanted to run away, they'd run to Kansas, because supposedly when they came to Kansas, they were considered free. Unfortunately, you have also what they call the slave chasers, who could legally come into Kansas, say this man, this woman, or this child was the runaway slave from Mr. Johnson's plantation in Mississippi. I have the authority to arrest them and take them back down.
Wow.
And so that's what they did. So that's why we hid the runaway slaves in that basement there, because there were some runaway slaves, the ones that knew, they knew when the word got out that the slave chasers were in Leavenworth, they would come to the church and they would stay there, from what I've been told, until they left town.
It's amazing how Kansas plays into that larger overall story, and the different things that you hear between the border war and the Jayhawkers and all of that. I mean, it's amazing that we're here and you guys have this facility that just kind of cries out about what people went through.
Yes.
You've got, I noticed the Buffalo Soldier patches. How does this all tie to the Buffalo Soldiers?
The home that our museum started in July 1992, it was actually lived in by an original Buffalo soldier by the name of Captain Bly.
Oh.
And then his son was Albert Bly, and he also lived there. So the research found out that he was an original Buffalo soldier. So that's how all this came into play. And a lot of the members, men who were at Bethel, were Buffalo soldiers. And as William will tell you, they never thought themselves as being a part of history or being somebody special. And then out at Fort Leavenworth, where the actual monument is the location where they had to report every day. So that's why the monument is located where it actually is.
I don't think anybody has ever heard. I've never heard that story. That's interesting.
Yes.
Did you guys know when you purchased the building that it was the home of a Buffalo soldier?
No, at the time we didn't know. It was just a building that, like I said, Army National Bank was trying to get rid of. But
and this just ties into the story beautifully.
Yeah, it just tied in beautifully after we did some research and found out that it was actually owned by Buffalo soldiers. Captain Bly, some of his relatives are still in Kansas City, Missouri. They came up to see the house.
Yeah.
Wow.
And his great-great-grandson is now serving on our board of directors. He came in about 6 years ago to purchase a windbreaker in honor of his grandfather and his great-grandfather. And he was talking to me as he was purchasing, and he says, "Oh, by the way, my grandfather and great-grandfather lived here in Leavenworth, and they were Buffalo soldiers." And I said, "Oh, we might have some information on them. Can you tell me their name?" And he said, "Bly." And I said, "Walk with me."
Yeah.
And so, as you know, you've been in the new part of our building, which came in 2003. I took him into the home, and the first picture he saw was his two grandfathers. And he fell to his knees, and he started crying.
Oh, my gosh.
And I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "We have that picture. That is my grandfather and my great-grandfather." He said, "Can I call my mother right now?" And I said, "Of course you can." He says, "Mom, you would never believe where I am. I am standing in the home of where my grandfather and my great-grandfather lived. And it's still here." I think there's only, 3 houses still in that area that are original homes from that time frame. And we have the one with the Buffalo soldier that was lived in by Buffalo soldiers.
Wow. That is powerful. So now he serves on the board.
He now serves on our board. He is a physician that does surgery, carpal tunnel surgery on your hands. He's out of Nebraska, but he serves on our board. Yes.
How many people do you guys have on your board?
Right now we have 17.
Oh, wow. It's a large board.
Yeah. We have 17 members on the board.
The focus of to fund the museum, is that come mostly from donations and fundraisers, or?
Right now we have very few grants. What I don't want to say hate, but is a little upset about is that Kansas has grants, but you have to have at least anywhere from 3 to 4 members that are paid in order to qualify for a lot of the larger grants. We only have one person paid, which is myself, and everybody else are volunteers. The cutoff line is from the last couple that we've tried to apply for. The cutoff is Tonganoxie. So Leavenworth gets left out. And if you're coming from another direction, I think it comes as far as, is it Smithville? Maybe Smithville. But we get cut out because we're a smaller community, kind of left off to the side. And I think for the grants that we would like to apply for, we're not eligible because of that. So right now, yes, our money comes in from fundraisers from our Jazz by the River. That's our largest fundraiser for the year that we do in August. Then we have our Christmas tea in December. We just had Motown event, which was this past May, and that usually is in April. And then our membership drive, which starts in January and it runs until December. And then people who come in that might take a tour, that might leave us an extra little donation in the box, because we offer a personal tour or you can walk through. And most of them want to hear the stories. Some people don't have time for the full tours. So they'll walk through and look at the QR codes and listen to the stories that are in the room. But the majority of them want you to give them that verbal tour. And a lot of time we get rewarded because they appreciate us giving that tour, and they might put a little extra something in our donation box.
You guys do a fantastic job when you give that tour.
Well, thank you.
The detail of the stories, I mean, it takes you right there, and you guys are great storytellers. So I think it's fantastic.
Thank you.
The history of the Buffalo Soldiers is really tied to this area.
Very much so.
Very much so. It's important to preserve that. How can we do that in a way that honors our Buffalo Soldiers?
For us, I think telling their story, making sure people don't forget them. In the last, 6 years it took us, William? 6 years to create a license plate in their honor that is now being sold through the state of Kansas. Richard Allen received some profits from that through the state. And it took us 6 years to get that accomplished. I thought that was a very long time, but COVID played a part in that because Jeff Pittman was a state representative at first when we started the project, and supported us with the Fort Leavenworth Buffalo Soldier Motorcycle Club and the Alexander Madison Club, who is a big part of the 9th and the 10th Cavalry, horse cavalry side of things. And so with them doing this, everything kind of got put aside. And I remember Jeff calling me in the middle of the morning hours, early one morning. He says, "I'm back on the floor. This is our last opportunity to try to get this pushed through. What would you all like to do?" And I said, the goal has always been to never let their history die, and let's work on it. So by the time we got it accomplished, Jeff Pittman had became Senator Pittman.
Okay.
And then we finally got it through. And so this past year was the first year that the plate is being sold around the state of Kansas in honor of the Buffalo Soldiers. Our president, Rick Jackson, has the very first one that was sold in the state of Kansas. So we try to get that information out through our museums, on our Facebook page, and on our website, and anyone else who's out there who would like to send it out for us, to let folks know that the funds from that really helps the museum. It will help us with doing more research. It will help us expand our growth of one day wanting to expand to make our facility even bigger than what it is, because there's so much more we can offer and show, but the space is just not there.
Is there room to expand in the area that you're at?
Yeah, we have room to expand.
Oh, wow. It's so interesting to know that there's so much history there. Do we have any Buffalo Soldiers still left alive?
None that are from the original 9th and 10th Cavalry. Mr. Madison and Mr. Alexander passed. Mr. Madison probably passed several years ago, and Mr. Alexander passed shortly after him. I think Mr. Madison passed at the age of 93. But they were the last two that we knew locally in the area. There could be a few more out somewhere else in other states we're not aware of, but that's possible.
How many states were the Buffalo Soldiers in?
We have at least 12 to 13 states.
Oh, wow. But it all originated in Kansas.
The 10th Cavalry originated at Fort Leavenworth.
Okay. Mr. Wallace, I've heard you're a great storyteller. When I talk to people,
he's the best docent you can.
Before I even met you, that was the first thing that I've heard. What is your favorite story to tell from the museum?
Well, like you said, I don't have a favorite because I love the museum. I've been there from its inception. So, and we're there over 30 years. So I just like the museum. Sometimes I get a little too detailed, and people ask questions. I can give a tour, and I know the tours are not about an hour and a half. I try to be sure that nobody gets bored. That's a long time, but we have to walk through it and see and you still can't see everything in our museum in that amount of time.
I've been there twice, and I don't think I've seen everything.
Yeah, you never see everything. So we try to make it interesting so that people, and I've had people come back and request me to give the tour. One lady with Pam Robinson has brought her family members and friends there 5 times. She could probably give the tour right now. She's been there so often, but she will call me and tell me, "I got some people coming. I want you to give them the tour." And she follows along constantly with it. So I know she probably knows my tour by heart by now. But
give us one of your stories.
I like to tell a story about the origination of the Buffalo Soldier Monument at Fort Leavenworth. That actually started by General Colin Powell, initiated it, believe it or not. He was stationed at Fort Leavenworth. He went to the Command and General Staff College. He came back in 1983, and he tells that in his book about his journey that he was doing some PT. He saw two rock roads. One said 9th Cavalry, one said 10th Cavalry. So he was a 1-star general. Although he was stationed at Fort Leavenworth, he was not in command of Fort Leavenworth. He was only a 1-star general. So he went to the commanding general and said there should be something more significant. The general said there's no money allocated, but I'll get you $5,000 and we'll put a plaque up somewhere. He said, I don't want a plaque. I want something more significant. I don't know what I want, but I want something more significant. He formed a committee and they started raising money and doing some investigation, and they came up with the idea of the Buffalo Soldier Monument. However, during this time, he got called away from Fort Leavenworth. There was a general retiring at Pentagon, and he requested for General Colin Powell to replace him. So he left, but he left the committee intact, and they contacted him every day, pretty much so. So they kept his project going, and the Buffalo Soldier Monument came into existence because of General Colin Powell, basically.
When was it dedicated?
July the 25th, 1992. And General Colin Powell was the guest speaker.
I was a senior in high school at the time. I remember that event. It was a big deal around here.
Yes, it was. And there were a multitude of over about 50, 60 Buffalo soldiers that were actually there. And they all were in line, people were in line giving signatures and stuff.
It's amazing.
And we feel that, in this time in our lives and what's going on in our country now, that it's important that history is not forgotten and that history is being told, and that our youth in the community actually know that they have history, and it's not just about the prisons. It's good history. Mm-hmm. Our kids come in and sometimes they'll have their Black History Month program, and they'll bring in Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and a few others. And I allow them to do the work that their teacher has given them to do, but then I open them up to new people. If you go in our restrooms, there's pictures and there's history of who created, the ice cream machine, mm-hmm. who created the stoplight, who made an iron, who pulled out the first combine machine that was in the fields to harvest. So they just need to understand that history doesn't need to be hidden. It needs to be told, and the truth about it needs to be told. And none of these things are in our books. When kids found out about Kathy Williams, they had no clue who she was. Mm-hmm. When they found out about the women of 688, we have 13 kids that came in the night. We hosted those 5 ladies that Tyler Perry portrays in his movie. And it's so funny because we thought somebody would come by and talk to us about it, but nobody ever did. And that's okay, because we actually met the women that they portrayed in person. And they shared with our tutoring students on a cold night when snow was on the ground, how they felt leaving home without knowing what's going to happen to them. So, and then William and I and Joanna Schultz, we got to travel in May of 2023 out to England with a lot of the family members and go to see the 3 ladies who passed away there that the mm-hmm. military would not send back to their gravesite in Normandy. So we really have been engulfed and engaged in what's going on with these ladies, that have made a difference for us, and how we tell our story about the women of the 6888. Lena is the head person in that, that they tell the story through her eyes. And we got to meet her in person. A joyful lady. I remember the night we came in, William and I met Miss Robeson. She was the first one to come in at the airport. And just the joy of her coming in, she had a little sign up, 6888, and the airport was all decorated. The newscasters were there, but William and I was there first. And matter of fact, we had left the airport because we thought Commander Philpott had given us the wrong airline and the wrong time. And so we started back, and he called us. He said, "Where are you guys?" And I said, "Well, we're headed back to Leavenworth." And he says, No. She just landed. Go back. So we were always to Platte City. We made a U-turn, went back, and greeted her. And then the other 4 ladies came in later. The 5 ladies that they talk about in the movie are the 5 ladies that we had a chance to host, have dinner with. My students had a chance to ask them questions. And I remember giving them the assignment, and it was so funny. And I said, your parents cannot give you the questions. You have to come up with your own questions. And one of them asked, you're old. How do you stay so young? Because all these ladies were in their 90s. And they told them, we grew all our own food. We cooked everything fresh every day. We didn't use all these preservatives and went to all these quick fast food places y'all eat at. And then one of them, Dolores, she cracked us all up. She says, and in the morning or around my lunchtime, I have a little extra something to drink. And then at night, I have a hot toddy. So, of course, one of the students, what's a hot toddy? She said, grandparents, because your parents may not be doing it, but your grandparents know what it is. And everybody just laughed. Or one would say, did you cry for your mommy? Did you miss her?
Oh, wow.
They didn't ask for daddy, but they wanted to know, were you able to talk to your mommy when you were scared? Were you scared? And all of them answered, yes, we were scared. But we knew we had to find a way to make a living and do something better.
What are some of the biggest challenges facing the museum today?
So for us, I think we need more sponsors, more corporate supporters, to get more involved in what we do and to find out that we are worth investing in. We need speakers that our younger folks, older teens can more collaborate with in helping them grow their future. I see expanding our building so that we can offer more services. Even cooperated with the schools in our local area. We can send out letters to our school. And most of the time, we only get maybe one school in our area that will respond to bring students. And they've been bringing students every year since I've been there. And I've been at the Culture Center now back when I'm headed into the 17th year. 17th year. We send out letters at least a 50-mile radius. We've had folks bring their students in from Lincoln Prep, and some that come in from Tonganoxie, and our own local schools in our area don't invest in bringing the kids for a field trip.
Oh, wow.
I think fourth graders on should be a part of what's going on and know what's in their area, because some of those kids have relatives that are actually on our walls that have contributed to the African American history and their contributions here and around the country.
That's amazing. In the next 10 or 20 years, what does the success look like for you?
Being more involved with corporations, as I said earlier, working with community leaders to develop grants that will help not just Richard Allen, but other small museums, because we have several in our areas, and we all get a stipend from our travel agency that put out CBB puts out a small grant, but because they share that money with so many, there's nothing just locked in for us.
Gotcha.
And I think getting grants will help that, but they have to be specifically made for the museum so that we can continue to survive. Donations from the private sector makes a difference. Bus transportation for kids to get to and from our program makes a difference. Us expanding again, making it a destination place. I know we put out we take an ad every year that costs us quite a bit with the Royals and the Kansas City Chiefs, because they give them, when the opening game starts for the first of the season, everybody that comes through that gate gets one of those booklets that they put out. We've benefited from it. People have come in for tours. They've even stayed in the local hotels to tell us, because we always ask, how did you hear about us? We have also the City Connection, a little magazine that come out. We apply for that. But when you pulling that out of your few pennies that you're getting, it's hard to keep up with continuing to do that. We've even had a billboard. And when we had a billboard up on 7, it made a difference for people knowing that we even existed in Leavenworth, who may not even come past that sign. So it makes a difference for us in those things. And that's what I see in the future. If we can continue to grow in those areas, the museum will be awesome for people to know around the country who we are, what we're about, and what we have to offer.
What's your target for that expansion? If it was a perfect world?
If it's a perfect world, I'd like to do it yesterday. But I know that's not so. So maybe in 2 to 3 years, 5 years tops.
Wow. Okay. If anybody wants to donate, they want to get involved, how can they reach you guys?
They can reach us at the Richard Allen Cultural Center and Museum at 412 Kiowa Street in Leavenworth, Kansas. Our email address is honoring, HONORING, the letter A.A.vets, VETS. Let me repeat that.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It's honoring A.A.vets, spelled VETS at gmail.com.
Okay.
Our telephone number is 913-682-8772. And you can always email us. Our website is richardallenculturalcenter.org.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page as well, but that's the best way to reach out to us.
Okay. So we're going to shift to our second part of the program where you guys don't have the notes and I have all the questions.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Look, William, I'm turning it over.
This is my favorite part of the program because they get to learn a little bit about you guys. More so than just what you're doing, but more about the individuals that you are. So I'm going to start with this. Mr. Wallace, morning person or evening person?
Evening person.
Both of you?
I'm a morning person.
You're a morning person?
That's why I answered that one.
I'm retired.
People say you get more busy when you get retired.
You really do. A lot of people tell me that. They said you work harder now than when you was working. Yeah, but the only difference is I'm not getting paid.
What's the most common reaction from first-time visitors?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of them, when they walk through the front door, they only assume what they see is just that room is our museum. But by the time we get them to the house, they're like, we're going in another part? It's like, yeah, you're actually going in the part we started in. This part you're in was added in 2003. So it's a wow.
One historical figure more people should know about. Who wants to go first?
I'd say General Colin Powell or General Beagle. People don't know about General Beagle. General Beagle is the first African American to ever be in charge of Fort Leavenworth, completely be the commandant of Fort Leavenworth. And that fort has been there hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. And yet they've never had an African American general in charge until General Beagle just was assigned to be a commanding general.
And he wasn't just Fort Leavenworth. He was assigned. Yeah. There was 5 other military bases that were under his command as well.
Wow. Best age for kids to visit the museum?
I say 10.
10's a good age.
Because they can get a better understanding. When we have kids that come in a little bit younger than that, we read a book called Sweet Clara and the Freedom Quilt. And that book is a book that helps them understand about a young lady who was taken from her parents and then sold as a slave. We used to have a quilt that helped us tell that story. It came up missing. But we're being blessed again. There's a group of ladies right now that are working on replacing our quilt so that when we read the story to the kids, they can do that scavenger hunt that we give them to go find the different things that we talked about in the story.
Okay. Best piece of advice you've received?
Keep the doors open. Yes. Keep pushing forward.
Keep pushing. Keep doing what we're doing.
And keep doing what we're doing.
Okay. Favorite place to eat in Leavenworth?
Mine is Luigi's.
Luigi's, okay.
It's touchy. I like
so shout out to Luigi's.
Shout out to
10 pennies.
10 pennies. Oh yeah, definitely 10 pennies.
Yeah.
Under the new ownership, the food has really changed. Their menu is good, and we always have a good time. So we flip a coin. You know, we try to go to both and patronize both because
we
both
also
of them
go to it's called Tampico's.
Tampico.
Okay. Well, there also.
So we have to strike that out. We have 3 favorite places.
Yeah, Tampico, Luigi's, and 10 pennies.
Yeah.
One word to describe the Richard Allen Cultural Center and Museum.
A treasure.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Last book you read?
It was General Beagle's book.
Okay.
I'm a book reader, so I read General Colin Powell's book a couple times because I tell a lot of the stories in the book when I give a tour. So I kind of reread that book to refresh my memory.
Last movie you saw?
Women of 6888.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. One message you would give to young people in Leavenworth?
To never give up, to believe in yourself, and to always remember you can do whatever you set your mind to if you just continue to move forward.
To accept, to keep going. You're going to have some negativity in your life. You're going to have negative people in your life, but you have to learn that you have to turn those people loose and continue fighting and keep doing what you're doing. Get an education. The more educated you are, the better prospects you have for a job.
I want to thank you guys for joining us today. This has been amazing. The work you do is amazing. I think it's so important that we have places like the center so we can learn about our history and know what's going on in our community, where we come from, how far we've come. You guys do such a great job of living that for us. And so I want to thank you for being here and for all the work that you guys do.
Well, we want to thank you for inviting us out because I think you're helping us spread the news that we are in the community and what we have to offer. So thank you for letting William and I come out this morning.
It's been awesome. Thank you to our listeners for joining us today. The Richard Cultural Center and Museum is one of Leavenworth's treasures. Please find some time to go out and visit, meet Edna and Mr. Wallace at the center. Let them tell the stories that are amazing. And if you like the content that we put out, please like and subscribe and view and share, and so that we can continue to do the things that we love doing, and that's highlighting our community. Thank you.
Can we share one more
Please,
thing?
please.
Our hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 11 to 4 p.m. because we start tutoring on Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 4 to 5:30. If you're interested in becoming a tutor or volunteering at the museum, please call us at 913-682-8772, and you can ask for Mrs. Wagner, and we'll sign you up and make sure that you have something that you can open your eyes and arms to our kids to learn. That's something we may not be sharing with them. Also, we're closed on all major holidays, but we are open on Saturdays if you call in advance for your tour. And we ask that it be at least a party of 5 so that our volunteers have a chance to take a break as well with their families on the weekend. So thank you so much for listening to us. And don't cheat yourself. Come see us. We're hidden treasure right here in Leavenworth.